All right, welcome to another episode of The Route, where we talk about scaling your pest control company. Today, we're going to talk about numbers. We're going to get nitty gritty with numbers, math, metrics, a lot of those things that most pest control owners don't like. They're not great at. It doesn't come second nature to them, but it's the things that you need in your business. It's the things that are super important, but most guys just aren't aware of them, don't even know where to track them, how to track them, what to look at. So specifically, I want to talk about the three numbers that matter most in your business. If I could ask you just in three numbers to tell me three things about your business, I believe just with these three numbers, I could know almost everything I need to know about your business in terms of efficiency, success rates, how you're going to scale, how healthy the business is. These three numbers. So, in any business that I'm interested in, or if someone was like, "Hey, would you want to invest in my business?" I would say, "Hey, tell me these three numbers first," and this would tell me everything I need to know first. There'd be other numbers I might dive into after, but if I didn't like these three numbers, I wouldn't even go to that next level. So, the three numbers are auto pay percentage, cancel rate, and resurface rate. So let's start with the first one, auto pay percentage. A lot of pest control owners struggle with this one. Auto pay percentage is the number or percent of your customers who are on auto pay, meaning they have a credit card on file and every month or every service it automatically is withdrawn and paid for, and you don't need to chase down payments or invoices. So if the number was 100%, that would mean all 100% of your customers have a credit card on file in your CRM, and after the service is done or on a monthly frequency, it just charges. Most pest control companies, especially smaller ones, anyone doing less than $1 million in revenue, most of them are in the 30 to 50% range in terms of auto pay. I've talked to some that are more in like 50 to 70% range, but still, I don't think that's great. To have a really good auto pay percentage, you want to be shooting for 95% plus. So if you have 100 active customers, that would mean 95 of your customers have a credit card on file with you. The reason I say 95 and not 100 is it's common. Every month, credit cards will go expired or get canceled for one reason or another. So you always build in that buffer. And then there are times when there's just old school John who's 99 years old and claims he has no credit card to put on file and he will just pay cash or check every time. And I don't love those customers. I try to stay away from them. But if you've been in business for a while and you've always done it for him that way, I build in that buffer there. So 95% is the number. So ways to get to that number if you're not there yet. Number one is you want to set that as a standard in your business. Anytime someone would call in, I'd talk over the phone, or if I'm going door to door and talking to them in person, I would always require credit card on file immediately. So we'd get a signed agreement first, and we'd put credit card on file. Most times we're not doing the service until the next day or the following day after that, but we would collect a credit card up front, and now they're set for auto pay. Then we'd go do the service the day or two later, and then we would charge them the day after that. So you can remind the customer, hey, we just set up your account fully here. We get this signed, and then we put a credit card on file. We won't charge you until the job's been complete. So you don't need to worry about that, but we just save it here so it's nice and easy for you. So you can position it in the best interest of the customer. Hey, we do this so it's easy for you, so we don't need to track you down after the service, but I'll just save you here today. Once you do that, your life is going to be so much easier. You know the pain of tracking down invoices and payments and Zelles and Venmos and cash and check and trying to find who's paid and who hasn't and how late are they and how many monthly payments can you collect from them, and it just the headache of all that. This will solve so many of your problems in your business and so many of the stress, just all the stress in your business. So get more people on autopay by first requiring it up front. Secondly, I'd recommend going to monthly billing. That'll make autopay super easy, because if you're charging, let's say you're doing a quarterly service for $150 per service, when each quarter comes around, you're going to get a handful of those customers that their card gets declined, just because it's a slightly bigger number. Some people just don't have that available in their bank account, or they're almost maxed out on their credit card. So 150 will get more declines than 50 will. So I'll break that down to 50 per month. If you charge 50 per month, you're going to have a better auto pay percentage because less cards will get declined and it'll just be smooth all the way through. So switch to monthly billing and require credit card on file before. And then some things you can do kind of outside of those things to keep auto pay percentage high is be very diligent in tracking all the payments. So most companies have a batch report that runs every day. So I would check that batch report every day. And anyone who didn't pay or the payment was declined for any reason, I would call them, manually call them. If they don't answer, leave a voicemail and also text them right after that. And simple, friendly message, friendly text. Hey, just checking back. Saw the payment didn't go through today. Just wanted to check back and see if you had a different payment method you wanted to use going forward. So I never want to make it awkward or be like, hey, why do you have no money? Just make it smooth, make it easy. So manually do that every single day. And then also on the back end of things, have automation set up that'll do that for you. So anytime a card gets declined, it can trigger a rule that automatically sends text to people. I always recommend text. 90+% of texts are seen. If you go email route, less than like 10% of emails are seen. So automate those texts and then have your batch report or your billing system retry every payment every day. So I wouldn't wait till 15 or 30 or 45 days. I would just keep trying it every day. And if you continue to run into issues, you can usually manually try a smaller amount. So if someone's been way late overdue and it's like a $200 balance, you can manually change that to be 50 and just see if 50 goes through. Or if they are just at the 50 and the 50 is not going through, maybe just try 15 and just try to get something to go through so then you can slowly kind of chip away at that. Especially do that if you aren't hearing back from the person and they just are ghosting you, they owe you money, you can slowly start to chip away. So autopay is huge. It tells me, it tells anyone just how smooth is the revenue in a company. How easy are the payments coming through? How hard will it be to collect the revenue for the jobs that are done? And the higher that percentage is, the smoother and easier and just better that company is going to be functioning. So check your auto pay percentage, get it up to 90, 95+%, and you will see a direct correlation with your happiness and your ease in your business with how high your auto pay percentage is. If it's very low, you're probably often stressed, probably often complaining about customers not paying. If it's a very high percentage, you have ease and peace of mind. Number 2, cancel rate, cancel percentage, whatever you want to call it. Retention, the number of customers that cancel month over month. So and some people will say it as an annual number, some people say it as a monthly number. So 1% monthly would be a 12% annual cancellation. That's somewhat of an average. It kind of fluctuates. I mean, if you're an aggressive door-to-door company, you're obviously going to have a higher cancellation percentage. Not that it needs to be super high. We grew a lot with door-to-door, and our cancel percentage from door-to-door in the first year was less than 10%. There's a lot of door-to-door companies out there that are 30, 40+% cancels. So you can still have great cancel rates no matter what route you're going to get new customers. And then there's some super small companies that it's like very mom pa feel, small, local, every customer's cousin, brother, relative, church friend, like everyone knows each other, and you'll have a near 0%. But you definitely want your annual percentage to be less than 10%, and probably even lower than that, but nothing higher than 10%. And things that will help with that is a lot of the obvious things. Doing a great service, getting people to leave 5-star reviews. The more people that leave reviews, the longer they stay. Getting people to leave referrals and refer you to friends so they're more involved and invested in your company. Putting people on auto pay. That's going to make cancellations way lower because things are just automated. It's easy. So having that credit card on file. Keeping your technicians happy. Keeping your technicians happy will keep your people happy. So I always say, take care of your people will take care of your customers will take care of you. So focus on your cancellation percentage. And then what's really important to do is anytime someone cancels, have a good system in place to retain them and keep them. But in any sense, whenever a cancellation does happen, you want to understand why. So get to the root. Most people are pretty surface level when they start that cancellation phone call, but get to the very root of what it is. Is it a certain pass? Was it a certain technician? Was it a certain area that didn't get sprayed? Was it a timeliness thing? Were there delays in the service? Was it the response time? Figure out what it was and keep a super detailed spreadsheet of every cancellation reason every month. Because once you do that, you can start to cut down on the percentage. Most people just know, or most people don't even know their cancellation percentage. Then there's a small amount of people that know their cancel percentage, and there's an even smaller number of people that know why people are canceling. And a lot of owners you talk to, if you ask them, hey, what's your biggest reason for cancels? They'll say, oh, people that move or pass away or just can't afford it anymore. Those are the top three. And in all honesty, that is common, but at the same time, a lot of those are surface level. I'm not saying that people are lying about dying, but moving can sometimes be a lie. And sometimes finances is more of a surface level thing too. There's more to it. So getting down to the nitty gritty, what's the reason it's happening? And have a spreadsheet and see like, oh, we had 50 cancels last month. 10 of them were because of ants. 20 of them were because technicians were late. And then 5 were because people moved. And then another 5 were for other reasons. Have like a pie graph, have a bar graph, just breaking down each reason and then start to chip away. So I like looking at cancels by reason and then by technician. You might have, let's say, 20 cancellations in a month and you have 2 technicians. One technician had 18 of them, one had 2. I've been in situations where that's been a thing, where one technician has way more cancellations than another. So know the reason, know the technician, and then attack those head on and either find better chemicals to use for those certain pests or put in certain processes in your business to get people on time more, doing a better service, automations to get reminders out better, to get things on time to customers, and then training with specific technicians. Have the technician that's doing really well do ride-alongs with the one that's struggling. Just look into their service reports. Was that other technician just not filling out service reports? Was he being sloppy? Then you can actually solve the problem. So first and foremost, figure out what your cancel rate is. And then secondly, try to get it lower and lower and lower every month. Try to beat it. We would break up our year into 2 parts. So we had busy season, which was kind of summer season. We called it like March through September. And then October through February was cold season. So in busy season, we had standards of what we wanted our cancel percentage to be at. And then slow season, the same thing. And then lastly, the last KPI you want to really focus on is your reservice rate. So how many customers are asking for a reservice? How many customers are needing another service between their routine jobs? This is another number that will fluctuate by the time of year. So during summertime, we had a standard, and then during kind of winter, cold season, we had another standard. So summertime, obviously, you're going to have more calls for reservices. The bugs are more active. It's hotter. Usually chemicals break down a little faster. There's just a higher demand and need for it. So we would give a higher buffer of what we required and what our standard was. But again, this is another one of those things where most people don't even know their numbers. So first, figure out your reservice rate, and then break it down into sections by technician, by pest, by customers. Is there certain customers in certain cities or certain demographics that are always calling? Is it always about a certain technician? Is he just not doing a good job? Is it always about whatever? Is it just scorpions? Like everyone's just canceling over scorpions? Do we need to find a better scorpion treatment or a better cockroach treatment? Figure out the reason for the reservices, and then you can attack that and lower it. So in your weekly meetings with technicians, tell everyone their reservice rate for the month so far, and then remind them of the standard. And the more this number and the standard is on the mind of the technicians, the better they're going to do. I was not aware of reservice percentages when I started my business. I didn't know about it. I didn't know where to find it in field routes. I didn't know what it meant. So I just went like the first 6 months of my business having no idea, just kind of running full speed, just trying to grow a business. Then it was like September, October time, things kind of slowed down and I was really looking into things. And it's embarrassing to even say this, but I look back on the summer and our reservice percentage was over 33%. One technician was at 35% and one was at like 34, 36 was one of the two. It was insane. Like numbers that were just mind-boggling to me. I had no idea this was happening. I had an office person who was taking all the reservice calls, so I didn't really know how often those calls were happening. I didn't look at the numbers. I wasn't close enough to the technicians and like the day-to-day operations to know, oh, you're going back to this house again and again and again. So it was crazy. That's way too high. So and I bring up this story because simply by knowing what the number was, and then I reset the standard. I said, okay, now going forward, we're going to focus. During cold season, the goal was 0 to 5%. And during warm season, it was 5 to 10%. So those were our reservice goals. And again, this was a quarterly service. So if you're doing less frequent services, you want to build in that, keep that in mind, and your number should be lower than that. But about 10% was our goal for year round, and then about 5% for colder months. just by bringing this up. We didn't use any other chemical. We didn't use anything, equipment, supplies, like nothing. Didn't stay at services any longer. Our reservice rate plummeted in a good way. So it went from about 35% till we got down to 7-8% on average. Like absolute game changer in our business. Simply, the one change was simply bringing it up and having the technicians aware. If they're aware, they're going to do things different. And they were great technicians from the beginning. It was not their fault at all. But just because it wasn't on their mind, there's just a simple switch that happens when it's on their mind. So now they're going to be a little bit more thorough. They're going to be a little bit more aware of what's going on. They're going to talk to customers in a little bit of a different way. They're going to remind customers about things in a different way. Just because they're aware of, hey, this is what we're tracking. And then same thing for the office staff. They knew what the numbers and the standards were. And again, we got down under 10% and just slashed our reservices, which again, you already know this, but reservices are free services. So we're not making money on that. It's simply an expense of time and money in the business, and time and money that could be spent doing services for paying customers or new customers or quarterly jobs that are actually paying us. So reservices are part of the game. You need to do them, and it's important to have that in your business and have your customers aware of that value you provide them. But if you're not tracking those numbers, you're going to be doing way too many and losing so much money just because you're not aware of it. So first and foremost, track it, be aware of it, and then at a secondary level, get nitty gritty, figure out why it's happening, figure out how to be better with it, and involve your technicians in the process. That's what we would always do is, hey, this is what the number's at, how can we get better? And the technician who's doing well will always speak up, hey, here's what's working for me, here's how I'm spraying, here's how I'm sweeping the eaves, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm checking beforehand, here's what I do at the end, like, hey, this is what's working for me. We had a technician who went from being in the 30+%, and he was consistently like 5% or less. Like sometimes it was very, very low single digits, 2 or 3. Just was incredible. And he always would give great feedback and tell the other technicians kind of what he was doing. So get them involved. They'll usually ask each other questions like, hey, what do you do for this? Or I'm always coming back for these. And if it's a team effort, the whole company will do better together. So reservice percentage, cancel percentage, and auto pay percentage. You tell me those 3 numbers in your business, and I have a very, very good understanding of the health of your company, the growth, and the efficiency. So if you want to have 3 numbers you look at in your business consistently on a weekly or monthly basis, look at those 3 numbers. Just those 3 numbers. Don't get distracted by revenue and other fancy numbers. Those 3 numbers will tell you everything you need to know and give you a quick look into what you need to fix in your business. Then if there was like a 4th or 5th place, I would say profit is the only other one I'd add right now. Profits, you can actually see how much are we bringing in or taking home. And profit as a percentage of revenue. So $5,000 profit sounds cool, but if you did $100,000 in revenue, 5% isn't a great profit percentage. But if you did $10,000 revenue and had $5,000 profit, 50% profit's amazing. So that's why I always like looking at percentages, because it gives you a good idea, regardless of how big the company is. 100 cancellations in a month sounds crazy, but if that company has 10,000 customers or whatever, 20,000 customers, it's not bad at all. So always look at percentages. Don't just look at individual numbers. Auto pay, cancel, and reservice. All those percentages will tell you how your company's doing and show you exactly where you should be focusing your time as a business owner in training and developing and researching and fixing and automating and systematizing things in your business. So look at those numbers. That's a wrap for today's episode. Just want to go over kind of those nitty-gritty things in your business that you typically avoid, you typically don't even think about or know about, or you see it in your CRM, you see it in field routes, and you just don't even know what it means, or just kind of skip right past it. So look at those now, get really familiar with them, pull reports, get your team involved, and your company and your business will start thriving quickly if you can get those numbers in those healthy positions. So thank you again. If this has been helpful, please leave a review and share this with someone that might need a little bit of help with growing their business. And I will see you on the next episode.